Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Renton Reflex. Is there a movie that you enjoyed during your childhood in which your perspective on it greatly changed upon revisiting it many years later? Well, for me, one example would have to be the Care Bears movie. I used to watch it on VHS tape all the time when I was a kid, and I definitely liked it back then. Does it still hold up after so many years? Well, first, let's talk about the story. An orphanage owner named Mr. Cherrywood tells a group of orphan children a story about the Care Bears and the Care Bear cousins. The Care Bears live in a magical place up in the clouds called Carolot, and the Care Bear cousins live in an imaginary place called the Forest of Feelings. The Care Bears' mission is to help everyone on Earth share their feelings with others. A teenage boy named Nicholas, who works as a magician's helper, hasn't had a friend in his life and wants friends more than anything. An evil spirit, who exists in a magic spell book, convinces him that she could help him with that, but she ends up brainwashing him by having him concoct certain spells that would make everyone on Earth less caring. So it's up to the Care Bears and the Care Bear cousins, as well as a couple of orphan children named Kim and Jason, to try to set things right before it's too late. Looking back on the film as a whole, it's not quite as good as I remembered it. As a child, I didn't always think too deeply about story structure or character analysis when it came to watching certain films. In this movie's case, as long as the animation, the voice acting, and the direction kept my interest up from start to finish, those were at least enough to keep me entertained. But now that I'm a lot older, having watched it again and looked at it a lot deeper, it definitely has its faults, like how it establishes the cosmology of Carolot. For example, at one point in the story, it mentions how that there's a river in the clouds that somehow connects between Carolot, the Forest of Feelings, and Earth. Thinking about it, how exactly does that work? The film also has a tendency to recycle certain music cues, and most of the songs don't exactly help move the plot forward. Not to mention that there are a few animation mistakes and continuity errors. Considering the fact that the film was produced in about 8 months, kind of says something right there. I will give it this though, it did at least attempt to give substance to a franchise featuring greeting card characters that didn't have a significant basis for story or character development to begin with, even if it did get a little clumsy in bringing out that substance. I do also give it credit for having a fair understanding of both structure and character, particularly in how it made the evil spirit an effective villain. Are those enough to say that it's all that good? Not quite, but I can't say that it's all that bad either. It may be flawed, but since I grew up with the Care Bears in the late 1980s, it still holds a bit of a nostalgic value for me. That's enough for me to say that I still care about this piece of my childhood. If I were to rate the film on a scale between 1 and 10, I'd give it a 5.5. Though not a perfect film, it's relatively harmless, even for little kids. And that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes my review. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.